His frontbench ally, Tony Abbott, has not.
I wonder how that audience was selected, quite frankly.
He's perplexed why Kevin Rudd's approval took off, often before he'd started making any point.
On the question of the dealings with...
High praise indeed, but can he explain it?
I have not interviewed the worm.
In a written statement, the National Press Club has rejected accusations it was complicit in limiting free speech, and it denies any interference by Labor or the Liberal Party in its decision to cut the feed. And all indications are the worm will make a return next time. Greg Jennett, ABC News, Canberra.
And it wasn't just the one worm. The great debate opened a can of them, giving the two leaders fresh ammunition to attack each other on issues such as climate change and tax. Today, they continued the argument on the campaign trail, each accusing the other of not understanding their own policies. Political editor Jim Middleton.
Happy, says John Howard, but not happy enough to schedule another debate.
Well, I thought we had a very good debate last night.
Among other things, Kevin Rudd used the 90-minute tussle to taunt the Prime Minister over his unpopular support for nuclear power.
25 were recommended, presumably to be dotted around the coast of Australia. Mr Howard seems to have gone quiet and cool on that because of his concern about the political reaction.
Coalition MPs have been lining up to say, not in my backyard. And now the Environment Minister's suggesting Australia may never ever have even one nuclear power station.
If clean coal turns out to be a cheaper alternative, then we may never build a nuclear power station in Australia.
It's just one of a number of options that will need to be looked at.
The Prime Minister was eager to promote a green tinge with a fund to compensate low-income earners for higher energy bills. But he can't say how the subsidies would be paid or how much money there'd be.
Likely to be quite substantial.
Mr Howard today demonstrated he actually doesn't know the detail of his own policy.
That's the government's precise charge against the opposition leader over tax cuts.
A little less conversation, a little more action, please, Mr Rudd.
Today, Labor acknowledged the government's long-term goal of a 15% rate for everyone on less than $41,000 may be more generous than Mr Rudd's.
It may or it may not. We haven't seen the distributional analysis.
I can tell him now that they will be worse off.
This is not an argument about firm, funded promises. John Howard and Kevin Rudd's tax pledges for the next term are all but identical. This is about goals for the term after that, about what may happen in 2012 and 2013. But Labor has provided an opening for the government to press its economic credentials. Jim Middleton, ABC News, Canberra.
The finger was initially pointed at the Liberal Party, but the Prime Minister's office has told 7 News it was the National Press Club that was the real censor. For the record, the worm, like most analysts, gave the debate to a cool and confident Kevin Rudd. Then again, Mr Howard has made a career of losing debates and winning elections. Corin Grant, 7 News.
And 7 political reporter Gemma Haynes is travelling with the Prime Minister, joins me now with the latest from Canberra. Gemma, good morning. The Prime Minister was back behind the mic again this morning. How did he rate his performance in last night's debate?
And the Prime Minister says he's happy with how he went in last night's debate. He held a press conference a short time ago where he distanced himself from the controversy over the use of the worm in one of the broadcasts. And when asked whether he would like the opportunity to debate Labor leader Kevin Rudd once again during this election campaign, this is how he answered the question.
Well, I thought we had a very good debate last night. It was a very lengthy one.
You welcome that opportunity again, do you, Prime Minister?
I thought we had a very good debate last night. It was a very lengthy one.
I think, Anne, we know what the answer is there. The Prime Minister got off to a bad start this morning as he went about his regular morning walk. He was taking a stroll around Canberra's Lake Burleigh Griffin when he was heckled by a fellow walker.
Such a bad economic manager, mate, you're a disgrace. No plan for the future. Absolute waste of space. You are a disgrace.
Idiot!
Well, the government has tried to make up for lost ground this morning by putting the spotlight back on Labor and its tax policy.
That's right, and the government was quick out of the blocks this morning, launching an assault on Kevin Rudd and Labor's tax policy. The Treasurer, Peter Costello, claims to have found holes in Labor's policy, which he claims would leave 45% of Australian taxpayers worse off. And he's used this finding as a reason to assault or a jump on Kevin Rudd's credibility as an economic manager.
Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to A Current Affair. First tonight, the worm fuss that's overshadowed last night's debate between John Howard and Kevin Rudd. The Nine Network's broadcast included the worm, a move that angered the Prime Minister and his minders. So the National Press Club cut Nine's debate feed not once but twice, attracting accusations of censorship. The worm gave the debate to Kevin Rudd with a 65% approval rating. The PM polled 29.5%. Now we'll show you what happened behind the scenes when opponents of the worm turned.
I just think it's outrageous.
It was a missile fired at media freedom.
Our other feed's gone now, our Sky News feed.
Launched from the Great Hall of Parliament House, the so-called heart of our democracy.
To encourage parents to invest in their kids.
No phones or cameras in your bag?
No phones or cameras.
This is the inside story. What really happened during last night's debate.
We don't want the worm very flat. We want your opinion at every moment during the debate. So probably every 10 seconds or so, make a selection.
Ray, did Channel 9 break the rules?
I don't think we did. We agreed to take the coverage from the National Press Club. Then we publicised for 3 or 4 days beforehand the fact we would have the worm.
Ray Martin was controlling Channel 9's coverage, but it was these people controlling the worm. Have you decided who you're voting for?
No.
Have you made up your mind?
Maybe.
Welcome to the Great Hall of Parliament House in the nation's capital.
So the debate is just about to begin and Channel 9 has got a surprise. It's decided to put the worm to air live, which is not the Prime Minister's desire. He doesn't know about it yet, neither does Kevin Rudd. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
The case I'm putting to the Australian people tonight is that Australia now needs new leadership for the future.
So Kevin Rudd, straight off the bat, is getting very favourable treatment from the worm. He's been talking for 3 seconds.
I agree with Mr. Rudd on one thing.
Mr. Howard has just started talking and the worm plummeted straight away.
The audience was selected by McNair. It's a polling organisation, not by Channel 9. So we asked for uncommitted voters. That's all we could ask for. They're the professionals. We're not at picking an audience. The audience could not see the worm.
One of the differences between...
But officials in Parliament House could. So we've lost it? 25 minutes in, they pulled the plug on 9.
The host for the great debate was the National Press Club. The technical side was covered by the ABC. They had the cameras and all the cables and so on. There were 4 people who had a feed of this broadcast. One was the ABC, they had coverage. We had 1, and 2 went to Sky News. They had 1 for on-air and 1 backup.
And the attitude of average Australians.
Mr. Howard, we need to move it on. Mr. Rudd, your response.
We then kept switching and hoping we'd stay alive.
They're going to call the other feed.
Canberra was committed to killing off the worm.
Funds to encourage parents to invest in their kids.
Our other feed's gone now, our Sky News feed.
So as you can hear, massive drama going on here in the control room.
Now the Sky News feed's being pulled, so the next option for the Nine Network is to use the ABC feed. So at some point they could be off air altogether.
We've lost the colored feed now.
But throughout the debate, Channel 9 stayed one step ahead of the censors.
The powers that be, the stormtroopers down in Canberra, have pulled both our incoming feeds. So we've used Sky's off-air feed to put our worm to air.
On the off chance there's any drama with Sky News, we saw an hour ago, could we have a look at taking ABC off air just if there's any drama?
Yeah, we've got them standing by. Well, if they get us off air, then the whole nation goes off air.
Ray believes the National Press Club caved into pressure from the Liberal Party.
In a way, that's denying us our rights to have our political opinion.
Well, we thought that. We thought that, in fact, we had this worm tonight, and as I said earlier, if you didn't want to watch the worm at home, if that distracted you, you could watch the ABC, you could watch Sky.
Big fuss over a little worm. Ben Fordham with that report. Now to the results of last night's special 60 Minutes phone poll on the election debate. And in a reversal of most verdicts today, viewers gave the Prime Minister a vote of confidence. Asked who they thought won the televised debate, 52% voted for Prime Minister John Howard, while Kevin Rudd scored 48%. There were more than 47,000 votes.